As far back as history records, we've seen that the focal point of a community was the water well. Around the well, people came to draw water, to talk with each other, to trade, and to be entertained. As societies develop, many of their needs and aspirations change, but the need for a meeting place and spiritual centre remains as important as ever. The Hornsby water sculpture is symbolic of the need for this focus in today's community. It stands in the heart of Hornsby's busy retail, transport and service centre. In 1990, Hornsby Council commissioned artist Victor Cusack to create an environmental sculpture to become the centrepiece of Hornsby's newly constructed Florence Mall. The theme of the sculpture, Man, Time and the Environment, incorporates 3 historic water clocks and a brilliant tubular carillon, which encapsulates the activity, colour and character that the mall has brought to the town centre. Hornsby is recognised as the northern gateway to Sydney, located just 25 kilometres from the city centre. This diverse region contains residential and commercial development alongside waterways, national parks and rural areas, much of which is reflected in the sculpture.
In essence, the sculpture is an environmental statement. The creature man, with his abundant creative ability and imagination, polarised against the need to coexist with himself and his fellow creatures. Even though human beings have existed as a species for only a fraction of the life of our Earth, we have destroyed more in the last 50 years than all the destruction that has ever taken place during the world's total existence. It took 10 million years for man's population to reach 1 billion, yet only another 140 years to reach 5.2 billion. This urgency of imploding time is symbolised by the different ancient clock mechanisms in the sculpture.
All the mechanisms are entirely water-driven. Every 12 hours, the complete pontoon-mounted sculpture rotates once, symbolic of our world and its cycles. The sculpture was conceived, designed and sculptured by Victor Cusack.
This is one of the most beautiful places in the whole world, and it's had a great effect on my life to be able to sit quietly in bushland like this. Everything I do has something to do with the environment now, and the environment I mean in the larger sense. Animals, human beings, the way the whole thing fits together. And that's why places like this are so important to me. The form and the shape of the Angophora, or the strange shape of the kangaroo, which changes as it bounds through the air. The Aboriginal has taken these forms and these sounds and woven them into the spiritual life. I like to use realism to impart the emotion that I'm trying to project. People identify with realism more readily, more quickly.
The sculpture was assembled and tested at his fine art bronze foundry by a team of skilled artisans. Piece by piece, each section was transported to Florence Mall, where the complicated final assembly and testing took place.
Hold it. As close as you can to the gaffers.
A spectacular laser show and weekend of festivities heralded the official opening of the water sculpture in March 1993. This magnificent sculpture is 8 meters tall and weighs 20 tons. It incorporates a fully operational 17-note tubular cast bronze carillon based on a 200-year-old design. The Swiss pendulum clock, which forms the centerpiece of the sculpture, is the largest water-driven pendulum clock ever built. The 5-meter-long pendulum swings a 350-kilogram counterweight. The Chinese water wheel is over 2 metres in diameter and weighs close to a tonne. A creative mix of bronze, toughened glass and stainless steel is used in this 11th century design, which incorporates 20 articulated buckets. The Greek clepsydra, or filling clock, features striking half-male, half-female heads, symbolic of humanity's confusion, with traditional Greek ram's heads as counterweights. The Hornsby water sculpture pays tribute to the region's environmental beauty and is a constant and creative reminder of the special responsibility we have to preserve these gifts for our children's children.